Welcome to the 331 podcast.
Hi, everyone, and thanks for tuning in. In today's episode, you'll hear from two accomplished and incredible teachers. You'll learn about how they teach their students about impulse control, the use of a calming corner, how to implement restorative justice, and what our teachers need to help their students thrive. It's all coming up on the 331 podcast. I hope you enjoy it. All right. Good day, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the 331 podcast. I am your host, Chris Tawes, and I have not one but two amazing guests today. Both are teachers at two different schools here in Greater Vancouver. Eric Hanson has been teaching for over 23 years and has taught students from kindergarten all the way up to grade 12. He currently teaches grade 10 to 12 at Kenneth Gordon Maplewood School in North Vancouver. And here locally in Pitt Meadows, Nichole Van Sickle has been teaching for over 16 years. He taught grades 6 to 8 at Maple Creek Middle School in Coquitlam for 7 years. And for the past 8 years, she's been teaching grade 1 at Pitt Meadows Elementary School. Eric and Nichole, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Eric, you and I have known each other for a long time. A long time, since we were like in grade 1 ourselves, actually. But I actually don't know when you decided to become a teacher. When did that spark start?
Well, actually, it does go back
To then?
pretty far. And actually, I would love to get your take on this because you were there back in elementary school at Brighouse Elementary.
Breakhouse Elementary, yes.
Richmond. There was like an annex school within the school that had like special needs kids in it.
Yes. Henrik was one of them, I remember.
Okay,
right?
well, you got your own memories of this. You know, to be able to share. And there was an opportunity that I took where I got to take time with one of those students.
Okay.
And now, as a kid, I thought, oh boy, I get to get out of class to go spend time with him. And it's kind of an ironic statement to think that I'd gone into teaching by trying to get out of school, but his name was Mike at the time. He and I hung out, we did activities around the school, and I kind of felt like, I don't know what it is about like helping people or being like a facilitator that it made me kind of feel like happy about it. And
Yeah.
I never really considered it like special what I was doing. I was just kind of being there with him and spending time doing activities. I remember one time it was Halloween and there was all these streamers hanging off the ceiling and it was a dark room. We were walking through like the haunted house or whatever.
Yeah, I remember they did that. The grade 7s did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was one of my first mistakes as a teacher because I couldn't see him super well. We were going through there. And by the end of the walk through the haunted house, he was like, his mouth was full of streamers. And we had to go and wash his mouth out after that. You know, these things happen as a teacher, you know. My first learning experience was that one. You gotta keep an eye on your students at all times.
All right.
But beginning there, and then I did a lot of coaching through my like high school years into early university. And I pretty much knew by grade 11, grade 12, like I really felt like teaching was my path forward. And I went through SFU and started teaching pretty much right out of university. And I've been doing it ever since.
That's really cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that origin story. That's so cool. Nichole, what about you?
Mine was not quite so straightforward. I'm one of 3 girls, and they both my sisters both found teaching before me, and it's funny because neither of our parents are teachers, so I don't know what it is about all 3 of us that we ended up all being teachers. But as a middle child and the need to be different, I did not want to be a teacher because they were both teachers. And yet every time I took one of those career tests, it would always tell me that I should be a teacher. But my undergraduate was in linguistics, and so I was considering like speech therapy, that kind of thing. But I had this year where I was going to be like, you know what, I've finished my degree. I need to make some decisions here. And I found out about this opportunity to go teach in France, teach English in France. So I went to France and ended up staying for 2 years teaching there. And it was like obviously not in an official teacher capacity. We were called language assistants, but I planned my own curriculum and did tests and things like that. So I really was acting in a teacher role. And I was like, you know what? I actually kind of like this. And looking back on my life, I had taught piano lessons. I had worked at a tutoring center. So I realized I could so much of what I had been doing had been teaching already. So it was a natural path forward. So I applied for the teacher program and I actually missed the first day because I was on a flight back from France.
Oh, wow.
And then that's the rest is history.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
What town in France or what city? I'm just curious.
I was in Tonneau-les-Bains, which is in the French Alps, and it's
Nice.
close to Geneva. Geneva, Switzerland is the nearest major city.
That's so good.
Yeah.
You
it
came
was-
back here?
Well, okay,
Yeah,
so
right.
I actually, when I decided that I wanted to be a teacher, I did look into staying there because
Right?
I
Yeah.
was definitely enjoying myself there, and I had made so many connections over there. But as a non-European citizen, I would have had to start my education all over again.
Right.
So it would have been at least 4 more years of school, whereas I could come home and do the PDP program in 1 year. Now the PDP program has been extended. I think it's at least a year and a half, which I think is a good thing, to be honest. But at the time, it was only 1 year. So it was like 1 year versus 4 years. If I come home and do the program and want to go back, I could always do that. But yeah, so
That's cool.
That's how I
And
ended
then
up
for
back.
those listening that don't know what PDP means, what does that stand for?
Yes. Sorry, teacher speak.
That's okay.
Professional development program.
Okay.
The teacher training
Okay.
program.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So you get my undergrad is in linguistics, but then you actually do come out of the PDP, the professional development program, with another BA in education.
Awesome. And then with all like your guys's background and experience, I've always wondered about how do you like learn the different techniques to teach different kids with different, skill sets and learning, areas, whether it's like autism or someone that's really gifted or like what have you, like is there certain things that you've developed that help you with each kid?
If you get a class of 30, you're going to have 30 different learners, their own different styles and needs and desires and combinations that work, combinations that don't work.
Yeah.
And the more you do it, the better you get at identifying what kind of learner you are, what kind of person you are, what you need as a student. And sometimes it's out of your control. Like, can only help you to this point and it has to come from you now, or, there's some give and take with students. Like, we can open the door, you have to walk through it.
Right.
But I feel like more experience gives you more. You've seen a student like this one before,
Oh, yeah,
and maybe
right.
this worked in the past. I'm going to try that technique, or getting to know them too really helps. Like if it's a younger student, finding out what their interest is and building your curriculum around that thing. Maybe for that particular kid, he loves ants or bugs or whatever, and maybe you do an activity to get him into
Right.
whatever you're trying to do. Is like, you know what? Instead of counting this, we're going to count bugs today, or
Right.
nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, it's definitely an
Yeah.
experience thing. Like
Yeah.
and that's why I say it's good they've extended PDP to a year and a half. Like it, even with that, you can't get as much. You're never going to get as much experience in the training as when you're on the ground
Yeah.
and figuring this out on the fly. It's like we were just talking about earlier before we started the podcast about when you're bringing home a new baby and you have no idea what to do with this new baby when it's your first kid. And you're just like, okay, I guess we're figuring it out. Trial and error. You read a bunch of things and you get to know your kid and what works as you go. And then the next kid comes
Mm.
and the
Right.
things that worked for the first kid don't necessarily work for the second kid. And so then again, you're doing research. And it's the same thing with teaching, I find. Like I do listen to podcasts about teaching. I read read articles, books, and just like talking to other teachers about what their experience is. Have you met somebody like this? What did you do in that situation? And it's very much a team mentality of if I don't have the experience with that kind of challenge, then I go to my colleagues and
Right.
what is your experience and what did you do in this situation? But at this point in my career, um, most of the situations that come up, I've dealt with something similar at some point that I have some tools in my tool belt that I can pull out and
Right.
figure it
Yeah.
out.
Definitely all that background just helps.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool you mentioned about a book. That's a good segue because I have a book called Hold On to Your Kids, and it's written by Gabor Mate and Gordon Neufeld. And it talked about the importance of like connection. And back in the day, you would kind of have to, or not have to, but like you can get like a gentle touch on the shoulder or something to kind of like have that reassurance or sort of like get a connection going with like a kid. But now that that's kind of not really allowed, or it's kind of like you have to be careful, like there are ways that you kind of try to connect with a child in the beginning to kind of, get them to know that you're
I
sort of a trusted figure, and
it's not that it's not loud, like a hand on the shoulder.
that's
I don't
okay. I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
I mean, you definitely have to be more careful, and unfairly, I think that men have to be a little bit more
okay.
careful than
Yeah.
women, and that's stereotypical, but, like, I don't
Yeah.
I have a sign on my door for greeting the kids in the morning. They can choose the high five, they can
Oh, that's
choose the
cool.
hug, they can choose the, like, silly face, or they can choose the bow, like, and, uh, and
Love
so
that.
and a lot of them choose the hug, and
Oh,
so
cool.
and their parents are right there, like, and it's kind
Yeah.
of a side hug, like, it doesn't and sometimes if they're hurt in grade 1 and 2, which is what I teach, I do ask them, "Do you want a hug?" And then if they say yes, but then I always ask if that's what they want because they're so
Right.
little still, like, a lot of times that is what they need, and it's not
Mhm.
like at the same hug I would give to my own child, but it's like a side hug, like reassurance, like, it's okay, and sometimes that genuinely is what they need, and then they're okay.
Yeah, that's amazing. I can imagine how important that would have been if I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I had a teacher like you who had like a list of things, especially a hug. That sounds really great because sometimes kids come in and it's like a tough morning. I know I hate it when I drop my kids off and we kind of had a rough morning and like, oh man, I'm really not setting them up well right now.
Yeah, and
I
it
feel bad
happens,
about that.
right?
I
Like,
know.
that does happen, and a lot of times they do arrive dysregulated because whatever happened in the morning, and it
Yeah.
could just be that they were running late, like, and it's not their parents' fault either, maybe somebody overslept, like, who knows? But sometimes when they do start the day dysregulated, it's hard, and they need to have those comfort items. I do have a bunch of stuffies in my class too, so they can, like, if they wanna go give the stuffy a
Yeah.
hug, or they can go in the little calming corner and, hug a stuffy or hug a weighted pillow, that kind of thing.
I love that. Eric, you have grade 10 and 12 students.
No,
How do you,
very great.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Put that on the record. But I do really care about greeting everyone when they
Yeah.
come in. I have a specialized school with a lot of smaller groups, like hand. Like,
Nice.
good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you doing? Just to acknowledge that they're here and I'm here, and this is like beginning your day with a kind word is really shows like the humanity
Hmm.
of everyone. Like, yeah, I'm your teacher and you're my student, but we're here together to do to do a thing together, and we want to make everyone feel comfortable to start the day. Even
Yeah.
if they don't want to talk to me, I'm still going to say hi.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And saying their name is really powerful too. Like, I
Right.
try and say hello and their name in the morning and even goodbye and their name in the afternoon, just
Yeah.
so they know, like, "I see you. You're important. I recognize when you're not here."
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. 100%. I use that with my job too.
Yeah.
Or if I say like the patient's name, it's
Mhm.
very direct and you establish that connection like right away.
Yeah.
Or I
You're
had
a
that.
human, I'm a human,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, for sure. Like I had that last night. She wasn't having a good time at the concert and I was managing her and other people were coming in. They weren't really getting much. And then when I went in, I used her name directly and she would open her eyes and like respond to it
Mhm.
because it's like I'm seeing you as a person and this is who you are.
Yeah.
You
You've been
know,
around the block a few times in your
been
job
around.
too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, definitely. So like you said, you get, a lot of experience and then you use that experience in your practice and it gets easier and learn what worked, what
Mhm.
didn't work,
Mhm.
and hopefully you leave that didn't works
Yeah.
away and you kind of just have your little bag of this works for me and this is how I like to be and
Mhm.
kind
You
of
got to
like
be
my
authentic as
personality and
well.
stuff. Yeah, 100%.
Like, if you try to, I'm a teacher, I'm going to act like I think a teacher should act. It's not going to work for you.
Yeah,
You got to be yourself, professional,
Yes.
but you still have to act like how you would act around your friends and family.
right.
just with a certain understanding of like this relationship is not a friendship relationship.
Yeah,
Mhm.
right. Like you have those boundaries kind of set up. Yeah.
And I think they appreciate it too because kids get confused, right?
Hmm.
Wait, you you care about me? Does that mean you love me?
Right.
Well, no. Like I'm your
Yes.
teacher, you're a student. Like
Right.
especially with younger students, like your teacher is always there for you and cares about you, but it's a different kind of caring than like a mom or a dad
Mhm.
would have with you.
Yeah. And I think that that's probably like a good thing, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Like this is the boundaries and this is like, I care about you, but yeah, no, like I'm your teacher, it's your parents, like
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
I think for younger kids, like it's good for them to have multiple adults that care about them,
Yeah.
coaches, teachers, like that. And it's a different type of experience with them in all these different areas of their life.
Do you have like a really cool, um, like tender moment kind of memory, like, besides like getting an apple at the end of the year, like, do you have any sort of like a thing where it was like, this is a really cool thing that kind of happened with like you and a student, like,
And for me, working with the older
yeah,
students is when they come back to visit,
yeah,
and they look very different because a couple years in the life of a teenager,
yeah, no kidding.
they can grow and they can facial hair now,
All
and
right.
all of a sudden they're taller than me. And just to hear them talk about what they're doing now and to feel like I had a part to play in getting them where they're going. I don't know how much of a part. It's hard to say. There's lots of teachers at my school, but for them to feel like they're happy to come back, they want to talk to us and they want to show us how happy they are and successful they are, makes me feel like, okay, you're
Positive
good.
memories.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine you off in the world the next 50 years, doing something good for the world, and I've helped them. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's so cool. Really,
Yeah,
really
and
cool.
I I had this one kid. There were a lot of challenges, and we were working through lots of things, and but like this amazing moment was when his mom said to me that they were looking at this class photo, and she was like, "Who do you think is Madame's favorite in the class?" And I was like, "Well, I don't have favorite." And she's like, "He instantly said, 'Well, I am.'" And so, like, he felt that connection with me, even though we'd had a lot of challenges that
Hmm.
we were working through. He saw me as somebody who, like, deeply cared enough
Hmm.
to the point that he thought he was my favorite.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
that's when I was like, "Okay, this is, like, that's exactly what I want to portray, is that you are so valuable, even
Right.
if we are having frustrations, even if we're still learning how to manage ourselves in the classroom, you are valuable to me, you are important to me enough that I want every one of you to feel like you're my
Yeah. Oh my god, I wish I could have gone in your guys' classes. And I'm like just thinking of my own experience as a kid in classes. It's so different. Like
Absolutely.
oh man, I knew when a teacher did not like me. Like my parents still tell me the story of like my kindergarten teacher was so stressed out with me at the end of the year. She started smoking again after she quit. And I'm like, it's kind of funny, but not funny at the same time. Like that's terrible. What was I doing to
And yet
her?
that they knew that, so she must
I
have been
know.
saying that to them. It was the '80s. That's
It was
what
the
they would
'80s,
say.
and I remember her being, like, pretty old looking. I mean, even in my own memory, right, I was, 6, but she had, like, white hair in a bun with glasses, and she was kinda thin and stuff like that, and I remember, like, a lot of kind of people, like, their grips are so strong, and I remember a couple times that she
Oh, wow.
you know? The fact that made her
She
look
didn't hug
so
you much, I
she did not hug me
Yeah.
much, no. Yeah, that would've
That's
made
what
a
I had
huge
to do.
difference. It would've been a huge difference. I probably would've completely dropped all that, anger and yeah, exactly.
But
Um, yeah,
people looked older back then. She could have been like 35.
Yeah,
that's what I
that's
mean.
true.
Yeah,
It's true, like, you look at movies from back in the day,
yeah,
and they're
yeah,
supposedly in their 40s, and they look like they're in their 60s these
yeah,
days.
it's true. I know. I wonder yeah, because in my mind, I have this image of what she looked like. I wonder what she actually would have looked like. That's funny.
Get the photo album, Chris. Let's do this.
Yeah, yeah.
Eh.
Um, So with like bullying, that's such a big thing because it's so different now with like how to handle that. How do you guys handle bullying or like when a kid comes up to you and says like I'm having trouble, someone's teasing me or getting picked on? Like what are some of the things that you do to help with that.
Yeah, I mean, our experiences would be very different at the different grade levels, but
Yes.
um, we actually just had this conversation in my class this last week,
Cool.
because there's been a lot of kids coming in from after recess. It's always like this crazy
Mm-hmm.
free for all when they come back in after recess. He did this to me. He did that to me. He blah blah blah. Like they're all telling on each other.
Right.
And so, okay, let's sit down and let's have a conversation about this. And we at at, at the kids' age right now, they will throw around that word bullying, like
Mm-hmm.
he's bullying me. And so we talked about first, let's define what that is. So, like bullying, we're all learning here. So, a lot of times kids are going to make a mistake. They might be having a bad day and they might say something mean to you offhand, but that doesn't mean that they're bullying you. Bullying is more, it's a repetitive and it's targeted at a specific
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
And so, and a lot of times, a kid who we also talked about how kids, and this is big words for my little guys in grade 1 and 2, but some kids have impulse control
Mm-hmm.
problems, and so they're not targeting you, they're just having some trouble controlling their hands and their feet, and
Mhm.
they do have trouble not just with you, but with lots of other kids, and there might be different reasons for why they might have those impulse control issues, but they're not actually targeting you. Still, I wanna know about it so I
Yeah.
can help you, so I can
Yeah.
help you to feel safe because that is my goal is to help you feel safe. But most kids at 6 and 7 years old have such great hearts, and they really want to please, and they want to have friends,
That's true.
and they're just figuring their way out in the world. But even still, like I say, we want to make sure you feel safe. So if something is repeatedly happening to you, then I actually have a photo directory of everyone in the school. So, like, if they're like, this person is bothering me out in the playground and it keeps happening, they're like medium sized, and so we try and figure out who it is, and okay, I'll go talk to them.
Yeah, cool.
And so a lot of times, if I go and talk to that kid, we can have this empathetic conversation about, oh, okay, why are you doing that? This is how it made this child feel. And it's just they had never really thought about it. And they were just acting in the moment. And a situation like that happened this week. I went and pulled a kid out at lunchtime and said, hey, there's a boy in my class. He says you've been pretty mean to him during Foursquare
Mm-hmm.
and that it's happened a few times. And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I never told me to stop."
Oh,
And
okay. Yeah.
so we said, "Oh, well, you know, in that situation, you wanna use kind words, like, he shouldn't need to tell you to stop. It might have been helpful if he told you that,
Yeah.
but he shouldn't need you to. But maybe we can now you know he doesn't like it. Can you put the brakes on that?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, for sure." And he hasn't had a problem since.
Nice.
So, a lot of times if you help them understand how the other child feels and give them that point of empathy, they're actually pretty good at figuring it out and stopping the behavior. And it's that
Nice.
follow-up. And sometimes
Yeah.
some kids are gonna need more follow-up than others. They're gonna need that repeated follow-up. But a lot of times, even just a few simple conversations and you can have it managed. And of course, not always. There are the rare occasions where it really is an issue. And then you get parents involved. We come up with a plan and
Right.
we figure
Do
it out.
kids ever get suspended anywhere for that?
They do.
They do. Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah. I don't think it's as common
Right.
as it used to be, but
Yeah.
they can get suspended.
Well, it sounds like a lot more proactiveness is going on than,
Right.
you know.
And that's the goal
Yeah.
ultimately is to be proactive
Yeah.
rather than reactive.
Yeah. Yeah. What about your
It also takes like a top down. What is the school's philosophy? What is the principle starting
Right.
for the school? If you've got support from your admin and you want to improve the community, then you're on the right track.
Right.
You can do a lot in your own classroom to build that community sphere to help with student to student issues. But if the entire school works the same way, that's the way you do it, it would make life so much easier for everyone. Um, at my school, we do we call restorative justice. You may have heard that.
No, I don't know that one actually.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
it's it's in other areas, but teaching has done that a lot. Where kids are very funny about he kicked me, I want to kick him, or that kind of thing. And to get away from eye for an eye kind of stuff, restorative justice is all about having not necessarily them together, because that might be a very painful experience, especially for someone who's been wronged in a clear way.
Yeah.
But like the communicating of why this has hurt me and to the other student that did the thing, and like that it's up to them to kind of sit with that and understand their role in it and coming up with a way to restore the hurt that was caused. It could be, something more symbolic, like writing a letter or making a formal apology. We have had situations where it did require more intervention from outside people, uh, police and other issues like that. But what it really requires is like the communication between the people, explain what it was. And like you're saying, even for younger students like that, they didn't think they were doing a wrong thing and they actually were, and that kind of stuff. Like a lot of it can usually get squashed at that level. But there are times when things need to escalate, or when, especially with high school, like there's lots that happen outside of our purview when it comes to bullying. Like everything when they leave the school grounds, like the online. And we've kind of drawn a line, like if something happens online in your home life, then that is an issue between like different parties. If it's affecting school life, that's a different situation.
Yeah.
And we take it seriously when there is evidence of like serious bullying happening. And from like I mentioned, top down, everyone is in lockstep that, this is a pretty important thing and we need to address it right here, right now. And the more you sweep things under the rug, pretend you didn't hear it, or, oh, I'm not going to focus on that today. We're going to get the learning we're supposed to be doing. But what's more important than teaching students how to be kind to each other and being respecting each other? Like that is the most important thing we can teach anyone, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of adults that still need to learn those
Oh my
lessons,
gosh.
right?
100%. It just goes on and on, right?
But if you can work on it when you're 15, 16 and make your mistakes now, because when you're in your 20s and 30s and you're still acting like a jerk, then life can get very difficult for you.
Yeah. And I read a book about restorative justice, and one of the interesting things that they suggested was that it was asking, and they talked about using it in the prison system. And one of the questions they would ask was, how could this have been worse? Which is like a funny question to ask, but it's actually interesting to ask it, because it makes the child in that moment realize, I'm not the worst person in the world.
Right.
Because sometimes when they have done something really negative, because that does happen, they start to create a narrative about who they are as a person. And
That's
then
true.
that can perpetuate the problem
I'm
in
the
a
bad
lot of
kid.
ways. Yes,
Right,
I
they
am the
identify
bad
Therefore, I do
kid.
bad things.
Yeah. And in elementary school, we have this book that's really popular now called The Bad Seed, and how the seed became bad. He was a good seed, and then he became bad because of something traumatic that happened in his life. And then how he realized he didn't, in the end, he realizes he doesn't have to be the bad seed all the time. And so if you can change their perception of themselves, and sometimes it is just a matter of asking that question, like, how, you made a mistake here, but how could it have been worse? And when they start to think, oh, I could have, it really could have been a lot worse than what I did. Oh, maybe I am not that bad.
Yeah. No, definitely. I deal with a lot of like homeless and like addicts and stuff on the street. And there was this one guy's got like a terrible reputation. And, I contacted when he was like, like sober, and he was just like super nice. And then when I sort of like, like, I know you, do you remember me? And he instantly started getting all kind of shy and like embarrassed, because he was like, oh no, what did I do? And, because he knew that he does act really aggressively, and, he just flies off the handle when he's like on something, but he wasn't this time. So he was like,
Right.
oh, what happened? But it was cool because it was like a nice window into kind of who he really is, and for that moment anyway, it was kind of a cool kind of a connection, because he just had completely lost his armor and it was just kind of him. And it was just like, okay, there you go. There you are.
Well, that impulse control
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily fix itself when they go into high school.
Right.
You're going to have people being impulsive 18, 19, 25.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's almost like amps up in middle school again too,
The
right?
hormones kick in.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah, for sure.
And we'll be right back after this short commercial break.
It's that time of year again, and Cadbury has hatched up milk chocolate mini eggs for Easter, made with Cadbury's dairy milk chocolate. Inside the crispy sugar shell, it's a chunk of Cadbury's thick and creamy dairy milk chocolate. That's why mini eggs, that they give you a chocolate experience that is so special. Although Easter isn't here yet, Cadbury's mini eggs are. So discover for yourself which comes first, the bunnies or the egg.
And now, back to the show.
Speaking of hierarchies, like what are some things that you're currently facing that are like challenges with like the government and like funding and like policies and things? Like, are there things that you think could be done better to help teachers right now?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we have to be sort of careful because we can't be like, because I'm not I'm not here
No.
representing
Yeah.
anyone, but I like one of the BCTF asks right now, which I think is so important, is that right now our ratio of counselors to kids is like approximately 1 to 690.
Oh, wow. Really?
And
693.
yeah, and statistics are that like 1 in 8 struggle with mental health
Sure.
issues. So you have one counselor to 693 kids. There's no way they're going to be able to make a big difference for the kids.
Yeah.
And it's almost, it's not that it's a waste at that point, but there's just so much that's getting missed. And we have so much of a mental health crisis right now.
Yeah.
So we really need to make that gap smaller. Because if kids don't feel safe at school, they don't feel good at school, then that affects everything. Like if you're talking about
Totally.
hierarchy of needs, like the very first thing that they need in order to feel good and to start wanting to do well at school is to feel good. And
Yeah.
if they're coming to school feeling bad, there's not a lot they can do. And like my daughter is 12 and she and I have these long conversations about, you know, social dynamics and friendships and drama. And we talk almost every day. Like she needs these conversations every day. And can't go to sleep without having some sort of long conversation about it. And she said to me, and she's so cute because she's so appreciative. And she's like, I really love that we can have these talks. And I almost feel like everybody my age should have a counselor. Because
That's what she said.
because there's so many things that we have to talk through and so many things that we don't understand right now. And if we just have somebody to talk to, then we can figure it out. And so, yes, 1 in 8 struggle with mental health, but there's also the other 7 who are probably going through tough things as
I
well.
guarantee
And they just need somebody to talk to too. So like, we really need to close that gap of counselor to student ratio so that we can meet more of those kids' needs.
Yeah, I love that your kid's so wise that way. I love that. I have the same kinds of conversations with my daughter. They're friends at the same age, and a lot of it is kind of at that bedtime time.
Yeah.
They're sort of like, settling their thoughts, and then they're kind of, like just talking, and then also pick up at school time too. This
Yeah.
happened. Oh, how was your day? And then it's right
Mhm.
into this big thing, and a lot of that is friend dynamics and he or she made me feel this way or this wasn't fair. What do you think? And I don't always side with her, right?
Yeah,
Because I'm
it's
like,
true.
look, like it's really actually a small thing, or what she thought was, like, unfair. And then you're like, actually, yeah, it was unfair. I
Mhm.
hear you, I feel you, and I know for me sometimes it's just, but you just want that
They
acknowledgement
need the
of like,
acknowledgement of their
yeah,
feelings. Yeah. sometimes.
oh, you get it? Oh, okay, you feel
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
That's so much better than someone who won't talk to you. Right?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what's wrong? Nothing.
Well, and by the time they reach you at that point, if
Yeah.
they've had a lot of things going on, they may have already built those walls up.
Oh, yeah.
And then you do really need a professional to help them break down those walls. But
Mhm.
if you can catch them when they're younger and start helping them to be able to talk through some of those things that are building up, then it might help prevent, again, preventative rather than reactive.
Yeah. Eric,
Right?
you have a really interesting perspective, I think, because you come from like the private school side. So I was
Yeah.
researching that, and
Yeah,
the funding's way different, So how do you guys address that?
So a student at our school, I'm not sure exactly how much the government allocates to every student. In a private school, they get 50% of the money funded to them that a public school student does. So to make up that difference, there's tuition. It's a lot of money to go to our school. So in that way, I feel bad for all the people that can't come to our school because it's many thousands of dollars and not very many people can afford it. What we do offer is we have in school 3 or 4 counselors dedicated to our school, and they're there every single day.
Wow. 3 or 4 counselors.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
and depending on we have a high school dedicated counselor. She's there every day, and we have others that can step in if need be. We also have a lot of complex kids at our school, so they do really require that.
Mhm.
So it is like a need, and because of the system that we have with the tuition, we're able to pay for this person that is super valuable that I wish could be for everyone.
Right.
Uh, it's really like the inequality of education is like my school. It costs a lot to go there, but if you ever came into our school, it doesn't look fancy. Like we put the money into the teacher. Really,
Oh, that's cool.
the money goes to the educators, the counselors, the support staff, the tutor. Everyone has a tutor up to grade 9,
Wow.
one-on-one tutoring every single day. But our building is from like the 70s, 60s, and in some ways it still looks that way. Going to the fancier west side of Vancouver schools, and you can see the money is in the building and the fancy murals and the glass and everything. And sometimes they pay actually less money than we charge. But our kids really need that mental health support, the small class sizes, the teachers that really are trained to teach students with really complex needs. So it really is it's a two-way thing. Cause I love how much we're able to give our students, but I wish everyone could have it. And
Mhm.
it's just like, what do you do?
Yeah, and the class sizes would be another thing, class size and
Mm.
composition, like
A little smaller.
yeah,
Yeah.
Much
because, I
smaller,
mean,
yeah.
even you think about when I have 3 kids, when I had 1 kid, it was hard, 2 kids, all of a sudden I had way more work, 3 kids, you all of a sudden your work gets even bigger, right? Now you
Mhm.
think about that in a classroom context, like, it's so hard to meet everybody's needs when you have a very large class, and especially if you have a very large class with a lot of kids in the class that have a lot of complex needs, because you want to reach everybody, but it's almost impossible to do it as one person.
Oh, yeah.
So, we need more supports. We need good class size limits, and it's interesting because it's not the same all over the province. So there really should be a standard of what is the class size limit,
Agreed.
and like a reasonable limit. And then also same with composition. It's not the same all over the province, and it really should all be coming into line where we have that same language around how many needs should be in each classroom before we
That's
create
news.
another classroom. And that's
Yeah.
to help everybody, because even the kids who aren't struggling with anything, if the teacher's attention is so completely on those kids with needs,
Mhm.
then the kids that don't have the needs, they're falling through the cracks
Yeah.
too in different ways, right?
Yeah, for sure. I was unclear on that. So is it not a standardized number for the province? It's like kind of tweaked by the district? Is that
Yes,
kinda how it is?
every
Yeah.
district has their own class size and composition language at
Okay.
this point, is my
Okay.
understanding.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that. So with all of this sort of stuff and everything going on, like teaching, what do you do to cope and unwind and like, you know,
Mhm.
relax?
Um,
You can say wine.
no, it's not actually that. I'm not against drinking, but I drink wine and I do it socially, but it's not like a thing I go to regularly.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, because I'm busy with 3 kids of my own, I don't have a lot of downtime, and I do find that
Mm.
and this is maybe a quirk of my personality, but when I am stressed about something, I pour myself into it more.
Mm.
So I do find that teaching can be a never-ending job, and even 16 years into my career, it is a little bit of a never-ending job for
Yeah.
me because I am constantly reinventing the wheel. I did that last year. It didn't work. Okay, I'm going to start over. And, or, okay, now I have this. Oh, I just came up with this new great idea and I think it's really going to help them with their executive functioning skills. So we're going to do this. And now I have to create a new thing. And so I definitely like my husband says that my job is also my hobby because it's what I spend a lot of time doing.
Yeah, well, you care a lot. I can hear it in your voice.
Yeah,
right?
I definitely do.
Yeah. And
I find like I'm not always thinking about school, but I'm always keeping my eye, to whatever I'm reading or whatever is happening. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. Oh, that could be good. And because it's great to stay current in what was happening, to make it feeling like, I'm showing them things or we're teaching them in new ways that would, elevate what we're doing. The feeling like, oh, that was a really tough day. There are some days where you take it home, especially if it's like it was really a student had a really negative interaction with you. But those days for me are pretty rare. But it does sometimes linger. Like if there's an issue and you feel like you did the wrong thing or you did everything right, but it still ended up poorly, and you feel maybe a bit guilty about it. You can think about it, but like you mentioned, having taught for a lot of years, like there's that switch. You get in the car and I'm on my way home now, and I'm a dad. I got 2 kids at home as well, and I'm now that guy, right?
Yeah.
And you never forget the teacher but if you don't shut it off and don't read emails at night, because
right.
like a lot of jobs talk about like your boss is trying to email you at dinner time, and no, I'm not looking at that right now.
Yeah. And that's something I definitely need to work on.
Yeah.
I have made progress in that area, I will say, but I definitely still need to work on that. Yeah, shutting it off and not looking at the emails right before I go to bed, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Watch some Netflix or
yes, I know. And I did that yesterday for the first time in like a month. I don't watch a lot of TV. I guess so I guess if I'm thinking about the way I wind down, it would probably be doom scrolling. Or
not the best choice.
That's why I need
But you know what? I come up with some amazing teaching ideas because the algorithms are tailored to me by teaching. So then I'm like, oh, great craft idea from my doom scrolling. Or watching like little YouTube clips about whatever. So yes, I definitely have those moments where I get lost in it. But yeah, sitting down and watching like a slow show, those are the little luxuries.
Yeah,
we're getting into Lord of the Rings at my house, so that's
the series.
Oh,
right?
nice.
I guess. Okay, okay, cool. Yeah,
it's great because it's like this is a 3-hour movie. We're gonna watch it in like a hour and a half chunks, and my phone is like way over there.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna be looking at that thing.
Yeah,
I look forward to that stuff too. Like there was an hour left of The Empire Strikes Back that I've been wanting to watch with Link, and Link is my son for those who are listening. And it was just great to just like, phone was definitely over there. I really wanted to enjoy watching this with him. And because I found like he also was not distracted, and he just kind of like sat with me and we just watched it. That was like really fun.
It's a great movie.
And then I've always done this because I wear work boots. So it's always like I have to have those boots off, but like before I get into the car. It's just like it sends that message to my brain like, oh my God, I'm in my sneakers.
Right.
And then we all have kids. So I had to, explain that like when I get home, like I really just need that 5 minutes to just have a shower. Like I just need to kind of like just unwind. No, I'm way too careful to get blood on my Those are for like the
I've been watching the
those are the younger medics. And I'm like, what do you do? But sometimes But so that's something that I've always done to kind of like help me unwind a little bit,
good,
and then those 20-minute walks I'll say it's been pretty clutch. And music is huge for me too. I love music. So that's always a connection thing I do for myself,
Well, I've been like chilling out on the 531 podcast and just letting that kind of soothe me.
Is that a different one than the 331?
I meant the 331.
It's a bot. I've already copied my show and stuff,
Just relax and watch.
Yeah.
Some guy talking about war. And
yeah.
really, it was calming for me.
Oh my gosh. So yes, this episode is a transition episode. I am going to kind of get more focused and nuanced in like mental health and addiction because it's something I really am passionate about, and I've got a lot of experience now with it, and, like outreach work and a lot of hands-on stuff. Um, but one thing I've always um, done, I try to sometimes like kind of rewind people in the sense of like, if I'm dealing with someone that's really struggling with something, I kind of think, okay, well, like, you're 25. What happened to you when you were like 14,
Mhm.
or 13 or even younger than that, right? Because like I'm around a lot of kids with a lot of different ages, but a lot of primary school kids. And I'm like, they're all just these beautiful kids. But how did you grow up to be on the street, addicted to fentanyl, not caring about your life all of a sudden? Like, it's kind of crazy. So
Mhm.
my final question.
Here we go, big one.
Yeah, right. No, exactly. Um, like, is there anything that's being done in the school system right now that kind of helps kids with, not just education about drugs, but also like kind of getting a bit of the fear back in there, kind of like, the warnings of kind of what's kind of out there, to kind of help them. So when they kind of get older and they kind of maybe get some temptations or some exposure to it, and they got those kinds of tools to be like, oh no, I know about that. No,
So at my grade level, no.
no, yeah, grade one,
No,
probably not.
the parents would not be happy.
But what about middle school? Those times when you were teaching
Yeah,
middle school and stuff.
absolutely. I
Yeah,
mean, that was a long time ago at this point. It was
yeah,
almost
it's
10 years
true.
ago that I
Yeah,
taught
so
middle
the
school,
crisis was just starting.
but definitely we had people come in, like guest speakers that would talk about it, like that had experienced drugs themselves and had come through it, and they would have like very compelling stories that the kids really resonated with.
They did. Cool.
And it was part of the curriculum too, like the safe and caring schools concept of, or I can't remember if that's what it was called, but the idea that, um, yeah, having kids exposed to what can be out there and how to say no, how to avoid peer pressure, but also um, alternatives for dealing with your problems than numbing them.
Then numbing them out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I love that. Eric, what about you on your side?
Yeah. Well, interesting because we just went through this program called the Preventure program
Okay.
within our school. It's a set out curriculum meant for drug and alcohol abuse prevention. Um, I didn't lead it, but I felt like it did seem like we want to normalize the idea that everyone will be tempted at a time or two to try things that
Uh-huh.
peer pressure or maybe they see another person do it and they are curious about it. It's funny also the idea of the DARE program, you might,
Sure. Yeah.
and the studies that have come out saying like, let's explain every single drug to the kids.
Right.
Do you remember in elementary school, you're nodding your head.
The cop that came in with the briefcase
I think
that
they
had,
showed us every single kind of drug, like
yeah,
a big poster board,
Oh wow.
and everyone got very curious about all these drugs that are out there. And I mean, not I don't want to out you, Chris, but it was a very weird time to be a kid and being exposed to that kind of stuff.
yeah,
I mean, today you can try something one time, not even know what it is, and it could ruin your life. Right?
mhm,
Mhm.
Like the stakes are much higher. It feels like today to make a poor choice one night. You hear about it in the news the last couple of years, like 12, 13, 14-year-old kids overdosing on their first try of something that maybe kids in our day who were good experiments would have a bit of a runway to before they, would really have an effect on their life.
Right, but
And
it's laced with fentanyl or
oh yeah.
something, and yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's such a tough situation. But I think going back to like, why do you feel like you want to alter yourself? Like, what is it? What is that need you're trying to meet with that?
Mhm.
And how else could you meet that need rather than uh, trying this very risky behavior? I think is like the core of what people should be teaching.
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. You hit the bullseye there, I think, because that's always like how I've always thought of it. Like, what's the story within the story? And then that part is what got you to do it in the first place? Why do you keep bringing yourself back to this behavior that is like so risky? And what tools could you have done? Or
Mhm.
like, what are you trying to numb out? You know, because so many times that is what's kind of going on, you know?
Yeah.
And
Like,
there's also links
really
to-
bad stuff that they're dealing with, and they're completely just trying to forget about it, because when they sober up, they think about it. So then the addiction and then the memory starts pulling them back into those like really risky behaviors.
And it's so mental health related, right?
So
Like,
mental
and
health
this is
related.
again why the need for more counselors, like preventative rather than reactive.
100%. Yes.
If
Yes,
we
I
can,
agree with that
if
for
we
sure.
can help them deal with whatever trauma or whatever is going on for them early, then maybe we prevent them from getting to that point later in life.
Yeah, I think that's the goal, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, to try to minimize as much as we can. Yeah.
I know there's lots of stories about like he was, his parents loved him so much and he had a perfect childhood and he grew up, and then why are you here? And
Right.
sometimes you're just never going to have a good answer for like,
Right.
why. You're never going to be able to. It was that day you did that one thing and now your life is ruined. Like that's
Right.
usually not the story, but
Right.
sometimes these things are like inexplicable. You just feel bad for whatever happened here, but it feels like you wish you could give a explanation for every
Right.
problem that happens. Of course, we know Vancouver has a very heavy drug dependent community, but sometimes you think you could answer the question why you did this, but sometimes there's no.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a fair point too. Yeah.
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 100%. It's complicated.
Not necessarily cut and dry. Yeah.
Yeah. Nichole, Eric, it's been
That's
such a
good
pleasure. I know. It wasn't designed to be. I know, right? Let's talk about the Seahawks who are about to play and hopefully
Yeah,
win
okay, so
another
this is
Super Bowl. That
This
is.
is going to come out much later than the game. So you want to make a prediction officially on the record? Chris?
Sure. I'm going to say.
You're a bit of a homer.
I am a bit of a homer. I'm going to say something like 24-13. Seahawks win, something like that. I think
Okay.
it's not going to be a blowout, but I definitely think that the points are going to be a little low on the Patriots side with the Seahawks team.
Can I add one more memory
Sure.
to this podcast?
Let's go for it, please.
Chris and I had known each other for a long time. In elementary school, we used to do a yearly bet on the Super Bowl.
That's right.
And you loved the Buffalo Bills back in the 90s.
Right.
You were sure they were going to win. You probably don't know. They went to the Bowl 4 times
Four
in a row
times.
and lost all 4.
Yeah.
And I think one year, I don't know if you were mad that you lost to me, because he came in. Do you remember this?
You tell me the story.
Okay. No, yeah, it'll come to you. He came in with a plastic bag full of, I don't know, 1,000 pennies.
Oh,
Because you owe me $10, I think, is what happened. Right. And this giant bag, I don't know where you get the pennies from. Maybe it's your penny collection you had.
It was.
And he walked into this giant bag of pennies. I think he like slammed it on his desk. And what happens? Like impulse control.
Yeah,
My friend Chris here, maybe not as strong as it is now. And he slammed it on the table. And he guessed what happened to the pennies. They went everywhere. I wasn't too concerned because I didn't really care about the money that much. And I mean, they're pennies after all. But people were scrambling for them, picking them up.
I love that you said that.
Your pennies, actually. I probably took them home, put them in my penny collection, and they've been sitting there ever since. So
Probably. We all have these penny collections
Come
all
by and
over the
visit
place.
many
Now
times.
they're
There you go,
relics,
well,
so you
yeah.
can hold on to those things.
Yeah.
Chris
Shine
didn't
them.
know he was giving away something really special.
Oh my gosh.
like, it could be like a three-eyed Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Where
I had completely forgotten about the penny memory there. I think it was
Does that ring a bell though?
it definitely rings a bell. I
Okay.
remember I think it was Greg that kind of told me to give it to you in pennies. I'm not to throw Greg under the bus, but
Bank and make it in pennies.
not at all. I definitely had a huge penny collection because
Okay.
I just got them all the time.
Yeah.
Like I was always saying, like, oh, it's like the one thing. I wasn't a huge Stephen Harper fan, even though he's like changing my mind a little bit more nowadays. But he got rid of the penny, during like his when he was prime minister. I'm like, yes, finally the penny's gone. Oh my God.
You really hate pennies.
I hated the pennies. It
You
was
had a
so
collection
annoying.
of them, but you hated them.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. Didn't know what to do with them. You always had so many of them. Oh my gosh.
Well, that was my problem, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Oh man. Thank you so much for coming here. It's like this beautiful day and I really, really appreciate it. That's
Yeah,
you took the time out of
absolutely.
your Sundays and your families to come
Mhm.
here and talk on my podcast. So I want to say
You're very
thank
welcome.
you for that.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Thank you. Nice, the handshake. Oh no, I should do I should get a choice. I think
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
you should.
I'm gonna do I love
Greetings.
that. You do that.
Chris, I would actually love a hug if that's okay.
Okay, let's do a hug right now.
All right.
That's a good hug.
Yeah,
Got it
exactly.
on the tap on the back too.
Good night, everybody, or good day, or good evening, good morning, whenever. You guys all take care.
Bye.
Man, I almost nailed that Super Bowl prediction. I said 24-13 Seahawks, and it ended up being 29-13 Seahawks over the Patriots. Pretty cool. Nothing like seeing your favorite football team winning a championship. Love it. And now it's time for my featured song for the episode. I love music, and this is a great indie rock band from Manchester, England. This is the Omnipresence with their latest track, Hanging On. Check this out.
Hanging on by a thread, I'm going down. You're leaving things unsaid, I'm just a clown. I'm no good on my own, can't make a sound. Need your company to forge new ground. I can't get the value on what I've lost. Tell you what I've learned from all those days that I've been burned. I learned when to sing and when to cry. Oh, to my public well, now it's my turn to shine. I'll smile when Lady Luck comes round to hand me mine. I'm no good on my own, can't make a sound. Need your company to make new ground. There's no way to calculate the cost. Tell you what I've learned from all those days I've been burned. I learned when to sing and when to cry. Oh, they said it's time to think about myself, value in my health, don't rely on no one else. They said it's time to think about myself, rely on my health, that is my way. Hanging on by a thread, I'm going down. You're leaving things unsaid, I'm just a clown. I'm no good on my own, can't make a sound. Need your company to forge new ground. I can't get the value on what I've lost. Tell you what I've learned from all those days that I've been burned. I learned when to sing and when to cry. Oh, to my public well, now it's my turn to shine.
Cool song, right? That was Hanging On by the Omnipresence. I want to thank Eric and Nichole for taking the time to come out to my house on a sunny Super Bowl Sunday and do a podcast episode. Thank you all for listening and supporting the show. A special thanks to Dan Earl and Terry Ann for all your positive feedback and support. New episodes of the 331 podcast gets released every 2.5 weeks. I am currently working on a new podcast show name, so stay tuned for that. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Remember to hit that follow button on the show page. Be safe, be kind. I'll talk to you in a few weeks. Bye for now.